All right, Darian, you know what? You got young kids, but you probably still go to the gym, right? And you go to you see those people signing up for those challenges, or you get hit with them on your social media, the 6-week challenge, the 9-week challenge, all that. I obviously just glance over them all the time. But AJ Ouellette, he goes at it for real with his buddies here. The 9-week best transformation challenge at his gym. Now, the 29-year-old, Colson's going to throw up, if you're watching the stream, he was at 225, and this isn't 225. He was at 225 at the start of the offseason. This is a few days after the challenge started. And then he is sitting at 200 pounds now, and he is absolutely chiseled. His shorts are falling off. He doesn't have clothing that fits. He's that guy, but he is jacked. Now, everybody on social media, we talked about this earlier, he's going to have to do a piss test. He's going to have to, get tested. It's like, it's 2025. Like, there's a lot of different supplements. There's a lot of different ways to get to this. But when you see it, Darian, we're still a few months away here from training camp. I don't think he's going to play at that. Is he? What's the next step in the body transformation from AJ, from how you see it?
Well, first and foremost, he looks amazing. I mean, just to see a guy, the before and afters of what he did is just amazing. But I think he'll play at around 200, 205. I think that's the ideal weight for a running back in the CFL, especially a guy who's only 5'8", 5'9", in height. He doesn't need to be 225. He needs to have the stamina, the quickness, everything that it takes to be able to function on the huge field that you play on in the CFL. He needs that. So I'm glad to see this. And this also shows me that he's dedicated and he's ready to go. He hears the whispers. He hears the talk about, the Riders not having a good run game and, his injury history or whatnot. So I think this is motivation for him as well. And just seeing his physique, man, I'm looking forward to big things from AJ Ouellette for sure.
So let's go the other way, because normally when you're eating like that, or you're eating clean, there is nothing through your car window. What's a Darian Durant kind of weakness when you're out in the car? Where are you stopping? What are you snacking on? What are you getting? What's a Darian, I need a little something for myself? Where are you going and what are you grabbing?
Man, I'm grabbing some Doritos, man. I hate that. I'm addicted to them, especially if I need a quick snack or, just looking for a good little sugar rush. It's Doritos for me. But whenever you're going through this phase, though, I've been through it a couple of times, especially when I was coming back from injury. You don't want any sweets. You don't want anything that could mess you up. Just one meal, one piece of sugar, anything could just stop your progress. So. Just kudos to him for having the discipline to do this.
Do you ever remember playing with anybody? Like we talked last week and you said like Rob Bagg was just like the gym rat. Like Rob, was the workout guy, made everyone look bad. Did you ever see a transformation like that with any of your teammates? They like to drop 25 and shred things like that?
Not like that. This is not normal, but this is also a motivated guy. All right. This is a guy that's motivated. This is a guy who's seen a team, trade for a guy mid-season, bring in help, try to take his spot. So the motivation is there and you can tell, and excuse me. And he's just ready to go, man. Just look at him. You can just look at the fire in his eyes and I can tell when a guy's fired up and ready to go. And that's the look he has.
Could you imagine if all of a sudden Luke dropped pictures like this within the next couple of weeks as to what the broadcast team has to look like this year? Throwing down the gauntlet?
No, I couldn't imagine that.
Luke's a charcuterie guy. He's a potluck guy. Luke's not giving up that to do the 9-week challenge. Come on, fellas.
Oh, 9 minute. So the Riders signed Mark Webb today. He played at Georgia, spent the past 3 years in the Charger camp. We were going to ask you, because I kind of took a shot at ACC teams, North Carolina. That's where you end up playing. And Barney wanted to know, what other colleges were coming after you, courting you? Were you going after, when it was time to decide college for Darian Durant, what were some of the options?
Well, honestly, Georgia was my number one option. I had built a real solid relationship with Jim Donnan, who was the head coach at the time. But unfortunately, I broke my ankle 3 games into my senior year in high school, and it was a pretty severe injury. And Georgia backed out, and they went after a guy named David Green, and we all know he was a pretty good quarterback. But Georgia was my number one option, and then after that. After my injury, there were only a few schools that stood behind me and stuck with me and were willing to, bring me in. And that was North Carolina, South Carolina, Clemson, and Georgia Tech. So it was more nationally being recruited early on to me not being able to perform my senior year to more locally and the teams in the local area who, stuck behind me and, gave me an opportunity to come back from injury and see what I could do.
Your brother Justin, he went to Hampton.
Yep, Hampton, Virginia. Yep.
And then he plays NFL. Last week was the combine, and we just showed the 40, the kid there, the guy that sprained his ankle in the 40. Did your brother ever go to the combine?
Yeah, he was there.
And any crazy stories? What was his 40? And any crazy stories you remember from there?
No, he didn't have any real crazy stories, man. He was just motivated to try to prove that a guy coming from a small school could compete with guys from your, nationally known school. So, and he did a great job. I think he ran the 40 in a 4.51. He weighed in at about 230 pounds, which is, big for him, but 4.51 for a linebacker and dealing with combine times is amazing. So, that's what stood out for me is that he was just able to prove that even though he came from a small school, his physical attributes were pretty much spot on with those guys from the bigger schools.
Now, is the combine maybe not what it was back then, Darian? Because we got all these pro days now, and we hear about guys not going and all that. Is that the word down there where maybe it's these pro days where you get to work out for, at your school for select teams?
Well, I wouldn't devalue the combine. I think that, your traditional old school scouts that really go there to, look at these guys and determine who best fits their systems. I still think that this is a great place to spot that. The guys who you're not sure if they're as athletic as you think when you look at film, and then you get them out there and you can really see how they move. But Pro Day has really become the pajama all-star Olympics, so to speak, with these guys. As guys are just holding out. They don't want to go to the combine and compete with guys from around the country. They'd rather go and be in an environment where they're comfortable. And, sometimes I can understand, especially from a quarterback's perspective, right? Like for you to go to Indianapolis, you don't know these receivers, you don't know their, body dynamics and when they break down. So you may be a little off, but for other positions, I think it's very important to go to the combines and just size yourself up with some of these big name guys from Georgia, Alabama, Texas, these big schools to show that you can compete. But yeah, Pro Day has definitely just taken over, and it's just become, just an all-star for just throwing on shorts and going out there and running on air and, becoming a first-round pick. I don't understand it.
AJ Ouellette could never go in those shorts that he's wearing there. They'd fall off. He does not.
They'd fall off. So here's the thing. So Ohio State wins the Natty, the national championship. Will Howard's the quarterback. But yesterday they were showing throws in the combine, and he was missing receivers. What, out of all those throws they have to make for you, what was the hardest throw for you to complete? Because like you said, you're throwing to strangers sometimes. But, a route's a route. What was the one that gave you the most trouble?
Well, it's always that speed out, right? You have guys running at different speeds, and as a quarterback, you're just throwing off a timing. You're taking your three and no hitch, and you're letting the ball fly, and you're expecting the receiver to be there with a certain timing. And when you're throwing to unknown receivers, guys who aren't as fast or who may be faster than what you're used to, your time is going to be off. So for Will Howard, I mean, he's a guy that's just trying to prove that he belongs in the upper echelon of quarterbacks in this draft. But sometimes going to the combine and being in an unfamiliar environment can hurt you. And I'm sure he'll have a better day when he gets back in Columbus and goes to Ohio State's pro day. He's throwing to his receivers, guys who he's been working with all season. But the combine is kind of tricky, like I said, for quarterbacks, because you don't have any chemistry with these guys, and you don't know when they're coming out of their breaks. And it could really make you look bad if it's, in an environment like this.
If you're watching the stream, some video there. Ooh.
Whoa, hey, whoa.
But you can just see he's just doing his footwork, and he's just letting the ball fly. And I'm sure none of these guys are, what he's used to at Ohio State. So there's that speed out throw there. That's a little off timing. And, as you can see, it's just not easy to throw to guys who you've never thrown to a day of your life.
Yeah.
I guess we take for granted, because like with anything, when it's working, they make it look incredibly easy. Much like, it's so funny, I don't know what I saw. Was it on social media or TSN yesterday? 2013 Grey Cup highlights, you and the sheets, the ball behind and the run, and I was like, hey, look at this. Where's this coming from? Nice. I like this. Made it looked easy. It's like we did this every year.
That's when we knew it was meant to be.
How could we not win the Grey Cup every year when we made it look that easy, right?
Hey, on the heels of that, honest question here. Go back. What was the most nervous you ever been in the huddle?
Wow. It would have to be that Grey Cup game. I mean, honestly, I've never been in a game where there's just more pressure on me. We lost in 9 and 10. 11, we're just terrible. 12, we have a heartbreaking end to the Calgary game. So we know coming into 13, Grey Cup's at home, all the pressure's on you guys to win this game. And then when you finally get to the game, there's no turning back now. Everything has to work out. First couple possessions, we didn't get anything going. And then I fumble, and, my hands are a little sweaty. I'm nervous. I don't know, how this game is going to turn out. I'll tell you this, the one thing you don't want, and I hear guys, you want that game-winning drive. You want to go down in history, as the quarterback who, led the team to a game-winning field goal. But I tell you what, there's no better feeling than having a blowout win in the Grey Cup, where there's no worries in the fourth quarter, where you don't have to, make that throw, make that play. There's no pressure on you. So to get it done in that fashion, I'll take any other day than to have that game-winning drive.
See, and I would have thought from the outside, because in the Grey Cup, and this is just me watching, keep in mind I was a little drunk, you look cool as a cucumber. To me, in the BC game when we were down and you put us on your shoulders and brought us back or whatever, because everything had to work out there, because we needed everything on every play, because we were in a hole and we needed to come back and win that. So yeah, Grey Cup, I thought you were fine.
Well,
you didn't show
I wasn't really nervous that BC game. The BC game was kind of like, okay, what do you have to lose? Just let it all hang. There's no pressure like the Grey Cup game, man. I mean, to lose two, and now your third one, you're in your 30s now, and you're at home, and all the pressure's on you, and you know what type of party could happen in Rider Nation if you were to win, but you also know what that city would be like if you were to lose that game as well. So, knowing, the after effects of that game, there's a little bit more pressure, on that Grey Cup game being at home that year.
Yeah, losing. That's the other part we don't remember. You're like a moving truck at.
You don't think about that part of it. Right?
Your Ellard way home. Moving truck that night at midnight. We get out. No, but here another question. The night before that game, did you get a lot of sleep? I like asking guys this before Stanley Cup Game 7, before a big game, major in a golf tournament, right? Did you get much sleep? Did you have to maybe crush a little NyQuil to calm things down?
You know what? Honestly, I wanted to go to Riderville the night before, because I just wanted to just be out of the hotel, get out of my zone, just relax a little bit and just kind of feel the energy of Grey Cup week. I didn't have any family there, and I just wanted an opportunity to just enjoy the atmosphere. So I ended up going to Riderville the night before, and then actually, I hate night games, right? Because there's just so much downtime. The day of the game. I love a 1:00 game where you can just wake up. It's 10:00. You go to the stadium and play. But night games are the worst. So I just kept myself up all night so that I could just sleep as long as possible the next day. And I ended up sleeping to about 11. And that's long for me. So I just wanted to get some rest and but getting to Riderville really kind of eased that nervous energy away from me and just allowed me to just soak it all in because the atmosphere was just amazing.
That's an aggressive play, Maz. Going to Riderville the night before the Grey Cup, starting quarterback. Oh.
Okay, so
what did I have
as
to
a
lose
fan,
at this point, right?
I don't know.
Well, like Barney said,
part?
the midnight moving truck. Yeah, because I remember that day, and like a lot of people, you hate it, but your job was way bigger than ours. But as a fan, sitting around all day waiting, and then the pregame show is on, and waiting, and then finally kickoff. It's kind of like, okay, that's the thing. Like, you want to talk about the nervous feeling in the pit of your stomach, but at least by the end of the first quarter, second quarter, things were good, and we were feeling good. Yeah, that was nice. And it's funny, you forget
the halftime show. Can't remember.
Was it Shania Twain?
No. Sure,
No.
I can't remember. No.
Oh, Headley. Coulson. I think it was. Didn't Ryan Pollock tell a Headley story? Yeah.
Yeah, he had to push the lead singer out of the way, trying to rush get the team onto the field.
Yeah. It's like, hey, get out of the way. Poof, threw him against the concrete. You didn't go to the locker room and watch any of that, right? At halftime, you stayed.
Of course.
Or did you rip over to the Riderville quick? See what's going on there at halftime.
But man, the Grey Cup halftimes are so long, right? They're longer than usual. So it was the worst, man. Just waiting. Hate that.
You guys were buzzing at that time. Okay, I got to ask you a couple NFL questions. Where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to play?
Man, that's tough. I want to say San Francisco. I think he would be a good match for San Francisco. I'm not too high on Brock Purdy right now, and I don't know if they should dig in their pocketbooks and pay him so much upper echelon money. So I'm saying that San Francisco would be a good spot for him.
Speaking of San Francisco, and the thing that I'm always amazed at the NFL is that really talented players go for nothing when a team's getting, as opposed to hockey or baseball or whatever. Deebo Samuel, if he is getting traded to Washington for a 5th round pick, you would think that Deebo Samuel, yeah, people are saying he's a little overweight. Who isn't besides AJ Ouellette these days? If you're Washington for a 5th round pick, a guy who may not make the club, all day long to add to those weapons, and if he comes back and has a great year, I mean, Jaden Daniels is pretty good, and you spotted that early last year, that why do you think San Francisco has given up on him?
Well, I won't say that they've given up on him. I just think it's so hard to pay everyone, right? I mean, You have Nick Bosa, you have Christian McCaffrey. Now you're going to have a quarterback that you have to pay. You just paid Brandon Ayuk. There's so many big contracts, and Trent Williams is holding out. He wanted more money. So it's so many big contracts that they have. I just don't think they can pay everyone. So, you just have to pick and choose which guy you feel like, it wouldn't hurt as much as if you lost. And I think that they're saying that's Deebo Samuel.
Is
Good
Sam
pickup
Darnold
if you're the
staying?
Niners.
Sam Darnold staying in Mini?
That's a tough one. And, I could see him going back to San Francisco as well. I think he would fit well in that system. But it just depends on how they feel, about J.J. McCarthy. If they think that he's their guy, how his injury's healing, and if he'll be ready for next season. But I don't think J.J. McCarthy's better than Sam Darnold, but he's so much cheaper. And, you have to look at it from that perspective as well.
All right. It's Double Talk with Darian Durant, brought to you by Campbell Safety. Darian, I respected you I liked you, but today we got another level. You going to Riderville the night before you played in the Grey Cup. That's what a dog.
Well, no, the video was out there. It was famous. I mean, like everybody
I forgot
loved
about
it.
it. Yeah.
They showed that. Because they showed the video sometime during the game of you being there, and it was like the place probably. I'm assuming when they got you on stage, it melted down, right?
Lance Fraser wasn't Fraser and Luke on stage?
Yep, Fraser and Luke, and they were, of course, Luke had a big hand to get me out there, but I have to thank my guy Jeff Armstead, man. He's the one who, because I was nervous about it, but he was just like, look, this is once in a lifetime. You got to feel this energy, man. It's crazy out there. So he was right. It was just amazing.
That's so cool. I'm glad we told that story. All right, have a good week. Catch up. Go grab some Doritos. Check out the AJ pictures, and then we'll catch up again next Monday.
All right, guys. Take care, man.
Right on. Double Talk with Darian Durant.